There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
Refine your Jeep's audio with MB Quart's Jeep-tuned audio systems. Our 6.5 coax speaker pair provide clean mid-bass through upper-mid frequencies. Our titanium dome tweeters and butyl rubber surrounds create our signature defined harmonics. Find low-end balance in our 6.5 mid-bass speaker pair and experience pure, undistorted bass. Bring presence and high-end clarity with our 1-inch magnesium dome tweeters. Each kit is tailored to enhance any or every aspect of the vehicle's sound. This sonic definition can be further expanded with a 6x9 coax pair. These mount directly into the factory overhead inserts. Feel the impact of your audio with our dual 8-inch under-seat subwoofers mounted in a custom-fit enclosure. Power for these kits is provided by our NA2 compact amplifiers. MB Quart audio systems, now tuned and fit for Jeep.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. It's TGIF here on CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. And today we're going to finish this week with a big one. We've got a stacked show, so I'm not going to blabber too much about it, but I'm going to set you guys up. We've got Automobility, our distributor in Montreal, in the house, and we're going to be showcasing a brand that's been around the block for a long time. It's got a lot of stuff happening, a lot of news to share, and we're going to get into that with MB Quart. So we're going to talk about Automob, we're going to talk about MB Quart, and we might just have some surprises at the end, some dealers that we want to talk to and learn about their shops and their feedback on not only the product, but also their dealings with Automobility. So let's get this underway. No further ado, we're going to go to the Automobility studios first and foremost and get Mr. Steve Colomb, who's the product manager at Automob. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, Ben. Very good, you? Thank God it's Friday indeed.
Oh, thank God. It's kind of been a rough week for us Montrealers, hasn't it?
It is.
Yeah, we're not going to go there because I know the next person I'm going to bring on here might embellish that a little bit.
Let's not go there, please.
Let's not go there. Anyhow, we're here. We're excited. You know, we've had a lot of great sessions with Automob. You guys obviously have really upped the ante as far as the offering you have for dealers across the board, and MB Quart, no exception to that rule.
Correct. Yep.
So we're going to also bring on to help us understand the sales benefits of said brand, MB Quart. There's national sales manager. I hope I got it right. He's going to kill me if I didn't, but I'm going to bring on. His name is Michael Berger. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Ben. How are you?
Did I get that right? National sales manager? I think that's the
VP of sales, but it's okay.
VP of sales. Let me stand corrected for the record. VP of sales. Thank you for joining us and making the time for us today, sir.
Absolutely.
So I've had the chance to spend a lot of time with Steve.
And sorry about your hockey team.
See how I tried to. I try. You see that? What he did there? Okay. I accept your comment.
Told you not to go there, Ben.
I know. Hey, for the record, we got beat by the better team. You know, I'm not going to be a poor sportsman about it. You know what I'm saying? The Habs did what they did, and we lost, but we lost to a better team, and that's just the way it is. Not that several $1 million of salary doesn't make a difference. Anyhow, Mike, when you carry the title that you do, obviously there is a ton of brands that you represent and that you deal with dealers and your reps on a daily basis. You know, how does MB Quart fit into your portfolio, and why you're so not only confident but happy to have that in your portfolio?
So when we look at bringing on new lines or approach with new lines, we look at what we have currently and what we're missing, what holes we could fill. and or improve on in certain categories where we may think we're a little light on or a little weak in that category. We look to strengthen that. So MB Quart fills that spot perfectly in a lot of different ways. We've been dealing with them for close to a decade now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I think in 2012, 2013. I've been there for 25 years, so excuse me. At Automobility.
You're older than the counter behind you, right?
Yeah.
You've been there longer.
Yeah. So it seems just like, well, lately just a long time. So years have just melded into one another. But so the lines, MB Quart's grown quite substantially in different categories. It started off as just a car audio line, then they got into marine, and then they came out with some specific SKUs where they're expanding into a new category, which is what the show's
all about.
Primarily going to focus on. So we're quite excited, and when Steve first said, "Hey, wait till you see what I got," when I saw it, I said, "Wow, this is cool, very cool." So and we think our dealers are really going to love it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think the dealers have been asked? Is there a demand for this segment in Canada from dealers as far as what we're going to?
Yeah, since it's funny, since the pandemic happened, the traditional, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I haven't seen sales like this in the audio segment since the 80s. I don't even think it was. I don't even think it was this good in the 80s. So,
well, we had a lot less product to offer.
Yeah, we had a lot less product. So it was traditionally cars. Now it's it's gone into boats and into the recreational vehicles, and what we're presenting, what MB Quart's going to be presenting today. You're going to see how they've even gone that one step further on the 12-volt side.
And to reflect what Mike's saying, Steve, as a product manager, you're trying to cater to all these segments. You hit the nail on the head, Mike. It used to be car audio. Now it's mobile audio, right? Because you're talking UTV power sports, you're talking RV, you're talking marine. The brands that you've been promoting and putting into your lineup, Steve, I can see there's a little bit of a strategy behind this. So my question to you is, what do you think dealers will feel once they see what we're about to present to them? You think they'll be surprised, or is this something that people saw coming?
It's a very unique category that was pretty much untouched. If you ever been in a Jeep, don't get me wrong here, but in the basic Jeep with a basic sound system, as soon as you remove the top off, the doors, and you go on the highway, it's over. You don't hear the sound system anymore, unless you have the higher packages. And this is there to fill that need. On my end, I've been, I have friends that have those Jeeps. I've helped one of them build a sound system in one of them, and it was quite a challenge. I mean, it wasn't easy. We got it done, but if we had that kit on hand,
it took a lot of effort. A lot of
effort, lots of beer. Let me tell you,
beer and Jeep seem to.
But if we had this product on hand back then, I mean, it would have been a walk in the park.
Well,
I'll leave the guy at MB explain all the details about it, but.
Well, you let the cat out of the bag. We're talking about new applications, about Jeeps, which is a hot category. Is what we did a live about this, and it was one of the most viewed lives that that we've had all year. So without further ado, we actually got the boys from MB Quart to join us today from two different locations. We're going to be talking about product. We're going to be talking a little bit of the overview, because guys like me remember MB Quart from back in the day. Like I used to compete. I even mentioned I had MB Quarts on my Alaska car. As a front. So I'm curious to see the evolution of the brand, where they're going, and how they've adopted to the new demands that the current market is looking for and what dealers are looking for. So let's go ahead. We're going to first bring on Mr. Brian Sherman from MB Quart. Brian, let's go. Love this setup. I like where this is going already. Yes, absolutely. And we also have Rob Anderson joining us as well. What's going on, Rob?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, guys.
Thanks for taking the time. We're on here with the team from Automobility. We kind of give you a hype intro, so we're ready to get into it. Why don't we start real quick? I'll go to Brian with this question. Talk to us real quick, 1 minute. MB Quart, from what I talked about being, top of the line speakers to now full range line. Can you encapsulate that for us? The last 20 years, where are we at now with MB Quart?
Oh yeah, so the big transition for MB Quart was from a really super niche, high-end European German-built speaker line to now a value-based product brand with product categories that cover basically every mobile application, from mobile to power sports to marine to RV and to now enthusiast-based vehicle-specific products.
So application specific is something that you guys have really been working a lot on. I know there's a lot of OEM history there as far as developing product on an OE level.
Yep.
Rob, what are we? How are we going to do this? Do we have a presentation we want to go to and kind of?
Yeah.
All right.
Brian, let's go to this presentation, and then we'll kind of show off some of the product, and we'll get into the good stuff, the Jeep stuff at the end here.
Yes, sir. Sounds like fun. Let's go ahead and get that up for you, and away we go.
Okay, so we're going to go through this kind of quick. So if there's anything that you guys want to expand on, just feel free to jump in. But the brand history of MB Quart, most of us know it's founded in '62 in Oberheim, Germany. So it's one of the oldest brands in this space. We were the originator of the titanium dome tweeter. We were the first step-up brand to do a certified marine audio product that was co-developed with C-Ray in the '80s. We were the first audio brand to embrace UTV audio. We actually showed a vehicle at CES with UTV audio products in Maxonic's booth as early as 2005, which is the year that Maxonics bought the brand. We were also the first brand to do an audiophile grade crossover for car audio. These are things that just weren't common back in the day, and MB Quart brought them to the mainstream. I've personally been with the brand since 1996, stepped away for a couple of years here and there, but always drawn back, and yeah, glad I came back. So again, we kind of talked about the categories, the category overviews. Obviously mobile, this is our new premium series 3-way component system, which has been a pretty popular product. We're in the RV space. We have a couple of source units and then some specific speaker offerings that are unique for the RV space because of their mounting depth. And this has been a popular growth category for us. These RV radios that we launched are sized to match the mounting dimensions of a couple of popular OEM RV audio brands. So if you have an RV customer that's unsatisfied with maybe the features of the sound of their RV, they can bring it into your shop and have a simple upgrade done with either a new radio or a new radio, the amplifier, speakers, so on and so forth. And then obviously the marine space. So, we're in the marine space in pretty much every category, from source units to speakers to amplifiers. And then we have this line of compact amplifiers, which kind of bridges the gap between marine and power sports. And if you want to change over to Rob, I think Rob has some product that we can take a look at.
Oh, it's happening live as you speak, sir.
Beautiful.
And here's our NA3 amplifier line. This is one of our successful marine lines. Top mount controls.
Yep, so the NA3 is a new 4-inch Class D line. Top mounted controls, fully conformal coated, waterproof from tip to tail. That's a line that came out last year.
Here, let's show off the, how about the MP1, the Nautic Premium line of speakers, Brian?
Yeah, so one of the big challenges with the marine speaker lines is, colors and finishes. And it can be maddening if you're a dealer having to carry all these different colored grills and colored speakers. So we just simply came up with an interchangeable grill design that launched late last year. So these speakers ship with 3 different color grills. You get a bright white, a matte black, and a matte silver. So the matte black and the matte silver are easily paintable. So you have multiple options now for colors out of the box, and then the opportunity to easily customize as well.
So every single speaker kit in that line comes with those 3 in the box?
Correct, Ben.
The tower speakers. Another important note is our tower speakers come with all the mounting hardware to cover anything from a 1.25 to a 3-inch tube size, all in the box. So you don't have to have any additional expense or inventory for different mounting parts. It's a pretty ingenious design. We spent about a year developing this mounting system to get everything affordably in the kit.
Steve, that's got to be a major selling point for dealers for inventory.
It is, of course, because like Brian said, at some point you have one SKU that does 3 jobs, so you always have the right color in stock, no matter what, right?
Very nice. All right, let's keep it going.
Yeah, so moving into power sports, here's a picture of a radio mount and a razor kit. So we're using trusted elements from our product line in most of these kits. And we've been an OEM provider to a couple of big brands in this space for several years now. So we've really learned a lot about what the demands are for the consumer in this space and what the product needs to do to be able to hold up. So this is an area where we've taken a lot of that OEM expertise and OEM style vehicle standards to help in designing kits that are easy to install, easy to tune, and offer some predictable long-term performance. The harnessing in particular is what makes these kits pretty unique. So we currently have offerings for the Polaris Razor Apex chassis, which is the popular Razor chassis, and then the Can-Am X3. And we are launching next month Polaris Ranger, Polaris General, and Honda Talon vehicle-specific kit platforms, and then that'll expand into Q1 next year with Can-Am Defender. So we're going to continue again with this application-specific, vehicle-specific product lines for UTVs.
And are these all staged kits?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can buy, depending on what your specific demands are, you can buy anything from just a radio or just a pair of speakers to a full stage 5 kit that has subwoofers. In the case of the X3, we have a kit that offers dual subwoofers, so it's 2 10-inch subwoofers, 4 6.5-inch speakers, 3 amplifiers. So kind of sky's the limit there.
And the big thing about the stage kits too in our product development is we thought about the dealer, the installer, and even the customer in mind. So say the customer only has a budget for a stage 2 kit, that same exact harness that's in the stage 2 kit is in the stage 5. So adding on and upgrading your system maybe down the line as you grow into the vehicle is easy for the consumer and for the dealer and installer in the long run. And so we try to bring that development to every stage kit that we build. So consumer and dealer in mind with that. So
so there's a huge upsell opportunity for a dealer. You can hit a price point for a consumer and then bring them back for rear speakers later, or you can bring them back for a subwoofer or a second subwoofer. We have a subwoofer accessory kit, and our attachment rate on the subwoofer accessory kit is somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70% right now, and not all at time of original purchase. So we have an enormous amount of customers that are coming back and adding that second subwoofer after the fact because it's easy and it's convenient and it's a good profit center for the dealer, and it's obviously a very noticeable upgrade for the consumer.
Yeah,
awesome.
And the big thing with this is that we're not just engineering this product, we're enthusiasts in this space as well. So everyone that's on the Arizona team and then a couple of the guys here, we all go riding with these vehicles. And this brings us to the next, our vehicle specific kits that we're going to be doing specifically with the Jeep, is that we're not just a bunch of engineers sitting in an office, they're designing product hoping that it works. We're testing, we're actually personally using these vehicles and putting it into the grind, making sure it fits and performs well.
Well, just to connect the dots, that video we saw in the beginning, that is indeed that same Jeep that's behind Brian right now, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. We don't take the train or the bus to work. We take the and we like to take the long way to work.
Yeah, that's right.
Includes some trails and a little off-road excursion. So it really is something that we're passionate about. I mean, for me and for Rob for that matter. Rob is an amateur drift racer. I've been into the sport compact market since before it was a market that was of note to anyone. And the just cars and off-road in general is something that we're very passionate about here in Arizona.
Oh yeah.
I can't speak on behalf of Mike, but I know I can speak on behalf of Steve that we definitely can connect on a lot of those things you just touched on for sure.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We like to think it translates to the product.
It definitely does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So you teased me. There you go. That's what I wanted to see. Vehicle specific audio kits. This is where the market's been going. We've been getting a lot of content. It seems to be a trend. And it's interesting. Before we get into this, I have a question for Michael. Back in the day, everything was universal fit. Right? Everything you sold was universal. Now we have head units, source units for UTV. We have source units for marine. It's beyond just the half DIN or double DIN, right? I mean, there's so many different types of source units.
Absolutely.
My question for you is, how are dealers adjusting to this new offering of all this application specific type? Are they favorable to it because it makes their life easier, or are they like not against it, but hesitant because it means more inventory?
No, I don't think they're against it at all. I think they're actually quite excited that there's new categories opening up where they can generate those extra dollars. There's a lot of traditional cars or later model cars, sorry, to say that you can't replace a head unit anymore, right? Whereas, when you get into areas like the Jeeps and even the Dodge trucks and things like that, there's options there that you can still do, and which is, putting larger radios in, and then of course there's the UTV market, which was a category that's relatively new in our space, that has just exploded. And
and we're behind the US. I mean, like, it's starting now in Canada. US has already blown up.
And even with on the Harley side, that business has exploded. The 12-volt retailer would have never or rarely ever touched a bike. Now it's becoming a common thing for them to have a bike roll into their shop looking for an audio upgrade.
And to add a bit to this is why we need those type of products, either our UTV or OE kits, because we have to, and we're glad that companies like MB Quart do those type of kits. It makes the installer's life easier and still give him the chance to, make the sale. And
like Steve was mentioning at the beginning of the segment, I had a friend as well who had a Jeep, and to put speakers into a Jeep, you had to cut, and it's not an easy install on a Jeep. That's for
sure.
Yeah, it's not one that you get. You smile when you. It depends, I guess, on the shop.
It's where do you put the crossover, and what can fit in. It's not an easy vehicle to work on.
All right. So thank you. Sorry, guys, I'll let you continue. I just wanted to get some perspective from the Automobility before getting into this part. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, internally, the questions that we had to answer, and we decided to do this stuff, is, why vehicle specific? Internally did we think that there was a need for this? Well, we had extensive experience in building vehicle specific products for UTVs and in some other markets. And then as consumers start to move more towards DIY, kitted solutions are going to become more popular. It's just going to be a natural transition. And installing dealers are going to be, more easily able to install these kits with predictable results and less guesswork, creating more solid profit center for them as well. And then, new technology simply makes this easier for a company like ours to do. So we've invested heavily into 3D scan tools. We have three Creaform 3D scanners. We have a pretty elaborate software program. And then we have some 3D printers as well that make the prototyping phase quick. So we can bring these products to market pretty quickly and efficiently as well. So the next big question was then why Jeep, and specifically why the Gladiator? Well, per CMA data, the most accessorized vehicles on the road, hands down, are the Jeep platforms. Jeep Wrangler and specific is number one, and the Gladiator is rising pretty rapidly as number two. For our customer data, some specific customers that track brand and product requests through their software, some of the larger retailers, their most searched vehicles for audio and accessories are Jeeps. So when presented with the opportunity to develop a vehicle-specific system for them, they all said it's a no-brainer. You should absolutely do it, and we'll buy many of them. So why the Gladiator? It's the fastest-growing compact truck brand in the U.S. right now. It's an underserved market with little competition, so it's kind of an easy target. And then most of the parts that we designed for it also work on the Wrangler. So 99% of our work can be copied over to the Wrangler product. So you'll see a lot of the applications here also work in the Wrangler. And there is a Wrangler version of the subwoofer coming in Q4 of 2021. We're in the prototype phase of that right now. So, how did we come to design the system? There's no guesswork. We didn't just, hey, this fits, let's use this. Hey, that fits there, let's use that. There is a little bit of science to this, and so we want to understand the OEM options. So there's 3 different source unit options for the OEM. That last one, the 8.4-inch screen option, is not upgraded by consumers very often, where the 5-inch and the 7-inch are. So as we develop our kits, we got to take into consideration that some people are going to want to keep the factory radio and interface into it, while others are going to want to replace the factory radio with either a Highton or an Alpine, or now there's a Pioneer equivalent coming down the pipeline for Jeep. So we wanted to be sensitive to that as well. And then, we reviewed all the different speaker sizes. And, most notable here is that the largest speaker in the vehicle, outside of an optional subwoofer, is a 4-inch speaker. One of the things that we discovered when we looked at these speakers is how poorly tuned they are to the vehicle. So there's your front dash speaker, which is a full range, roughly 2.75 to 3-inch speaker. There's your front lower mid bass, which is a 4-inch and a ported enclosure. So you can kind of get a sense of what they're trying to do there. But look at the level and difference between those two speakers at the front of the vehicle.
You're missing a couple things there.
Yeah, a couple. That's a kind. And then there's your rear full range, which pretty much mirrors your front full range. It's the same speaker. And then your rear mid bass. So your rear mid bass is in a ported enclosure, and oddly enough, if you calculate the airspace and the port size, the FS, the speaker, is below the tuning frequency. So essentially, the front speaker is done correctly in the enclosure, and you can see clearly the rear speaker
one is not.
So again, it's an easy target. So our conclusions, obviously, system has no low bass, and there's no system linearity. The level differences between the highest and lowest recordable frequencies was over 20 dB, which is astonishing. That maybe one of the worst factory systems I've personally made here. And that's
exactly what I said. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this is the best predictable, most predictable scenario. If you take the top off, all bets are off from there. So insufficient high frequency output, and the system is very rear speaker biased, mostly due to location, but with very little opportunity to adjust it out. So our upgrade path is pretty simple at this point. We knew that we needed a better front upper speaker with a dedicated high frequency driver, so coaxial here. We knew that we wanted to jam a larger lower speaker in, and we had the airspace to do so. So that's what we did. Same thing with the rear. We think we could replace both those speakers with one larger, so we developed a 6x9 to fit into that space, yet still give you an OEM look. And then a subwoofer option specifically for the Wrangler. It's a dual 8-inch option. And then we wanted to power these upgrades discreetly. So you could either power these from the factory system and have a minor upgrade just based on the speaker size and quality, or you could power them with the included amplifiers in some of our Stage 6 kits, which would give you substantially more power. So this is kind of the path we took, and I think, Rob, you might have some of that product. Well, let's talk a little bit about the integration too. So these are full plug-and-play systems. The only modification required to install these systems in a modern Jeep is that you have to cut a little of the plastic for the rear speaker opening. So basically, the plastic between the 3-inch and the 4-inch speaker needs to be removed so you can fit the 6x9. And we give you a replacement grill that has a 6x9 opening in it, and that grill has a factory mounting pattern that we just made bigger to make it more transparent. So, when we design speakers, we're shooting for the acoustic transparency of the grill to be at least 80%, so we can get more of our.
It looks pretty OEM, like the design of that. Yeah.
That was like the big thing that I was very impressed with the design team when we came out with this, is that the grill design is super slick. You wouldn't even be able to tell that it's aftermarket.
We spent a lot of money on we spent a lot of time on the pattern. We spent a lot of money on texture bugs to make sure we could compare and nail down the correct texture to match factory.
What is that material of that trim?
The trim is, I believe it's a TPO, I believe is what that is.
Okay.
There's a lot of PP and a lot of TPO inside of vehicles today. TPO is traditionally like a flexible material, so they're using a lot of these to kind of give it more of a soft touch. It's still harder than a vinyl, but it's an in-molded material, so that it's cheaper for them to manufacture it. So you see a lot of that inside of vehicle interiors today.
Very nice. I noticed that you had an Ampro unit up. Is that something that comes with the bigger kit?
Yeah.
So when you buy our Stage 6A kit, the Stage 6A kit comes with the Ampro interface that we work specifically with those guys on to understand and tune. So there's no need to try to figure out your OEM interface. It's all in the box. And then our harness is designed to plug right into that part. So we have a harness that goes between the radio, the pack piece, even the factory amplifier. So if you're working in a Jeep Wrangler and you have a factory Alpine subwoofer, you can keep that subwoofer. You can integrate right into it through the pack piece and our system and have full control over the subwoofer like you normally would.
I think that's really interesting that you're partnered with AMP. Funny, Automobility happens to also be partnered with AMP. Wouldn't you know it?
Well, we tried several different interfaces when we developed the kit. Of those interfaces, the only one that was predictable and seemed to work in every instance that we tested was the pack piece. And that's not a knock against the others. I mean, I think it's kind of common that these things are glitchy and have some problems, but the pack piece was just locked in. And I think, Stellantis makes it a little easier too, because they use this variegation of source units, so many different vehicles. So.
Guys, I know we have a video I want to get to. Time is going crazy. I was wondering, maybe now is a good time to show it, and then we can come back and discuss what
let's do that.
All right,
perfect.
Here we go. So a couple of comments before, from what I've seen there. First of all, I think the install of the subwoofer enclosure, the dual 8s, is really slick and doesn't take up a lot of space. For sure, that was really neat. The 6x9 seems seamless, and I don't know why I didn't put that there to begin with. So I thought that was super cool. Because I've seen other iterations of solutions as far as putting a subwoofer in that vehicle, and I think that one is the way that you guys have done is really slick. And is that 3 amps side by side under a seat?
Yes, it is. So again, it's a discrete amplifier for every stage of the upgrade. So if you just want to upgrade the front of the system, it's one amplifier. If you want to upgrade just the rear of the system, it's one amplifier. If you just want to add the sub, it's one amplifier.
Okay, so you can do it. That's what you meant by stages. I see. If I'm not mistaken, there's a couple of slides left we want to go through, right?
Yeah, so I think Rob's got some of the product there, and he can kind of show you as well. So the front dash speaker, it's a purpose built. We squeezed as large of a cone as we could in there. It's just shy of a 3.5, but a fully custom engineered solution. It's a Neo motor, pop paper cone, and then our new magnesium dome tweeter platform. And then the front lower speaker is it's an enclosed 6.5-inch sealed speaker, and again, it's using the pop paper cone, and that driver was designed specifically for the enclosure. So once we understood the airspace we had, we tuned the driver accordingly. Those enclosures are also available on their own, unloaded. So if you have a preferred speaker you use, you can buy the enclosure and use those. And these differ quite a bit from what else is available in the market, and the fact that they're HDPE. So it's a very flexible material, where the other enclosures available on the market are ABS, and they're very brittle. These are also glued and screwed together, where the others are only glued together. So the others tend to fall apart over time, where these are pretty solid. So there's kind of an idea of that screwed together construction. You also note that everything is an OEM style plug. So even if you're just doing an OEM upgrade, these just plug right in. Our harness, if you're connecting them to our amplifier, includes the mating OEM connector.
And factory mounting points.
Yeah, yes. All factory mounting points. There's even on the back there, you'll see there are factory mounting points for a module that's in the vehicle attached to the current enclosure.
Very nice.
There's your enclosure, and the most notable thing here is that, again, these drivers were designed specific for this application. So we didn't just take an existing woofer we already made. It sure would have been easier if we could have, but the reality is to make 2 8s sound like 3 10s. You really have to design a driver that's going to be specific to the application, which we did here.
The big thing too with that design is like I'm a big art guy, and I like the attention to details where they're not getting rid of where your OEM jack goes, where your bolts for when you take off the door goes over there on the driver's side. So as a true Jeep enthusiast, you're not going to be sacrificing like your OEM comforts when you put this under the seat install of the subwoofer enclosure. So
yeah, most of the other enclosures are going to require that you also even cut your floor mats, and this all fits in that space without having to cut the mats, without having to remove any of these OEM parts. And then
it's the
internal structure. Yeah, the internal structure of the enclosure uses a manufacturing. It's a roto-molded enclosure, and it uses a manufacturing technique called a kiss-off. So that picture on the left, you can kind of see this cone structure. That's actually the engineered structure for the enclosure that's creating the rigidity that you need to make this thing non-resonant in the vehicle. And then kind of those keyed areas on the bottom of the enclosure is where it actually mounts through the floor to the frame of the vehicle. So using factory mounting.
Factory mounts again.
Okay. Yeah, rock solid in the vehicle.
Yeah, because these guys tend to like bumpy roads, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Your amplifiers are mounted under the front passenger seat and an amp plate that's angled up. So if you're a rear seat passenger, you can still put your feet under the seat, so we're not impeding any of the comfort.
I'm sorry, hold on. The bracket is included.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your amplifier mounting plate is included in the kit. Yep. Yeah. There's nothing for you to figure out here. It's all been figured out for you.
Yeah. Bulletproof installation. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. Okay. So beyond here, we just have some slides that show the different upgrades and how kind of versatile the products are. So I don't think we have to bog everybody down in the details of each of these, but there are probably 15 or 20 different configurations from the products that we built for this platform. Yep. So sky's the limit here.
Amazing.
It's all JLJT chassis.
Application chassis. Okay. Yep. Real quick, we have about 3 minutes here to wrap this up before we get to our next session. Steve, want your feedback on what you just saw here, this offering?
Well, I want to buy a Jeep now. I want
Good answer. No, but as far as fit and finish, and how do you think dealers will react to this?
Well, look, I mean, as I said in the beginning, I mean, I've done installs on Jeeps, and you know what? If I had that back then, listen, it would be a no-brainer. I mean, time wasted on cutting, fitting, custom fitments, especially for the woofers.
But let me ask you, how would you even create an enclosure that would fit perfectly? I mean, there's things that you can do. And there's other things. I'm not saying it's impossible.
It wasn't fitting perfectly. It was there, but that thing is,
Yeah. I think when the customer sees this at the retailer, they're gonna jump all over it and go, "Yeah, I need this."
Like you're not drilling holes.
Yeah.
You're not creating mounting points. You're not cutting anything. You're like unplug, screw in, play, basically. Yeah. Exactly. They did all the work for you with the 3D scanning and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, congratulations on this lineup. This is my first. I mean, I haven't been. I tout myself as being the most trained guy in the industry, and this is my first training for MB Quart. So thank you for taking the time, first of all. But second of all, I think it's really neat the stuff that you guys are doing, and understanding the market, because it has changed. And if you're not keeping up, we all know you're going to fall off. So really good job on that. We have a couple of dealers backstage. I want you guys to stay on because I want you here. I mean, the whole idea of this is to kind of get the whole 360 view on these products and then the range and Automobility. So I'd like to invite right now, we're going to go to, let's see, where are we going to go first? Let's go to Pickering, Ontario. I believe it's in Pickering. The gentleman's name is Rob Libovic. He owns a shop you might have heard of called Tint World. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. He's been a long-standing Automob client.
Actually, not that long.
No, maybe I'm confusing the two.
Yeah, with Mike. Yeah, with the next guest. Yeah. But Rob's a couple years now, and he owns a Tint World franchise, which I'm sure Rob and Brian are familiar with down in the U.S.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He's a great customer and he keeps growing with us. So
let's see what he has to say.
We're looking forward to growing more with him with this new offering.
Amazing. All right, let's bring Rob Libovic. What's going on, Rob?
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Hey, thanks
Hey,
for taking
Rob.
the time. I know you're busy at the shop today for sure. I know it's Friday, but thanks for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I was approached to have a conversation here and discuss my partnership with Automobility, and
Yeah,
I was
great.
glad to hop on and sing the team's praises.
Oh, well, let's hold on. No, I haven't even asked the question yet. Let me ask the question first. Well, first of all, thank you for being on. Second of all, we're going to talk about Tint World a little bit. We at CMA have already featured your shop and stuff like that. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out on our website. Why don't you tell us real quick the business, where you're at, where you're located, what you're about, and a couple of things that you specialize in.
Sure. Well, the business, as mentioned by Mike, as well as yourself, Ben, I have a Tint World location here. It is a franchise that's kind of come up from the US. I decided to get into this business a couple of years ago based on this being a passion project. I've been just like, all the folks that are on here. I've always been a big enthusiast. Every type of vehicle, the way that I've always put it to all the people that know me is, if it has a motor, I love it. So this was really a natural business model for me to move into. So I've been growing, and as mentioned, I mean, when I started looking for vendors to do business with and so forth, big important piece for me was to really get in a high level, really high level product base. Super important to me. I run a business that, my clients, I want my clients to be high-end clients that are looking to get high-end work done with high-end products. Things that I would put into my vehicles are what I want my clients to have, because I know they're going to be as happy as I would be in their shoes. So that's really been the way that I've been building my business, and Automobility has given me kind of really the back end, the products and the support from my sales rep to the technical team, just to be able to do that, to be able to build my business. I do a lot of 12-volt work. I do a lot of audio upgrades, everything from, full system upgrades to endpoint upgrades, which would be, covered this MB Quart Jeep offering. I mean, this is something that I see as being an amazing addition to, a product list that I can really speak to my clients about. So it's very exciting for me. Yeah, we're full service. We offer a full set of 12-volt services. We do a lot of dash cams. We do lighting upgrades.
It's amazing how diverse a 12-volt shop needs to be today. It was I mean, there's different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, Ben, you asked that question before, right? Are they willing to take on? You can see by Rob's statement right a few seconds ago, he's looking forward to getting into this right away.
Does it give you more confidence seeing now this presentation, whereby it is, direct replacement and all that comes with it, Rob?
Yes, because I mean, again, with me looking to do high-end work with high-end products, nothing says, that niche high-end product and kind of result more than something that looks OEM, and yet blows your mind when you hear the sound of it. So, these types of installs, this leaves little room for, installs to look unprofessional.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. You nailed it. I mean, if you have lighting, if you offer lighting, then I would know that you've already touched the Jeep already, for sure. Yeah. And if you have other accessories, this is just another thing. You can just circle back with clients. Oh, and by the way, but there's something coming down the pipe I need to show you. And yeah, there you go. Did you have any questions, Rob, for maybe the MB Quart guys after the presentation that you just watched?
I'm really excited to see these products come out. I'd be curious to see, what the timeline is on availability. I know that's a big story with the whole COVID world, right?
Yeah, it is for sure.
Is when are we seeing these products? Because it's a really exciting thing.
Well, I'd say the nice part is there's no chip involved in that kit, unless we cover the amplifier, maybe. I don't know, but we'll let Steve. How are we looking? I mean, this type of stuff. What are we talking about? Is that like 3 months from now? Is this?
No, it's a matter of days. I would say 7 to 10 days tops. Yeah, the order was processed in the past days. So
okay.
Yep.
So this
Should
stuff
be
is
good.
shipping, guys.
Very soon.
I think
very soon.
I think it shipped either yesterday
Oh,
or
really?
today. I think
Awesome.
I
All
think
right.
yeah.
So
That's
you're on
what
the
Simon
cusp
was
there,
talking.
Mr. Lebo.
Yeah.
That's something that interests you.
Soon.
Yeah, very, very, very soon. Rob, listen, anybody you want to shout out to? Anybody you want to make mention of before we let you go?
No, I'm just really glad that I was able to be part of this and be able to continue to see the progression here, and I'm looking very much forward to continuing to grow the business and grow with Automobility.
Awesome, man.
Great.
Awesome
Thank you.
team.
Good stuff. Well,
Thank you very much.
thank you for doing what you do. We're going to continue promoting you. You keep putting out some great work. Send us that. Make sure you tag us, and we'll definitely share you. Thank you for joining us today, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Bye-bye.
So there you have it. See, this is why I like doing this. This is proof in the pudding. That guy watched this presentation and is genuinely excited because for him, right, two dots connected there. Like, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to do no custom fab necessarily. This is something that I could bring him in. I just did a lighting job on that Jeep. Now I have something else to offer that customer. Because, Michael, you have to agree, lighting is obviously a huge expanding market as well.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that. Okay, we got another dealer. We're going to go to the other end of the province. We're going to go to Sudbury, where there's a shop there called Mike's Car Audio, which is very specific to car audio based on the name, but we're going to learn a little bit more about that. And if I'm not mistaken, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike has been a long-time customer for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Let's get Mr. Michael Carrier. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
How's it going,
Hey,
sir?
Mike.
It's going good. Thank
Hey,
you.
Mike.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
So, first of all, thank you for making the time in your busy schedule to join us. I know you're running a shop, and like you've seen with Rob, why don't you take the first minute or two to tell us about Mike's Car Audio, where you're located, how long you've been in business, and what do you specialize in?
We've been here for about 6 years now in Sudbury, northern part of Ontario. So we see a lot of trucks here, Jeeps too, a lot of off-road stuff, lighting applications, anything 12 volt, from small boats to big boats, to putting a stereo on 8 smaller UTVs like ATVs, that kind of application, more custom stuff, Sea-Doos too lately, watercraft, to dash cams, lighting, and dealer applications also.
Yeah, so I mean, even in Sudbury, Sudbury, just so you guys know, who are the MB Quart guys, Sudbury is not the biggest city. It's not a Toronto. It's definitely a smaller town up in northern Ontario. They get a lot of snow. It gets cold in the winter, but there's also a lot of guys that appreciate their toys, like Mike had just mentioned. Having said that,
they do
Mike,
a lot of audio up there.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. Mike, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your relationship with Automobility?
I've known Automobility for a long time now. I've been in the industry myself for 18 years, and Automobility for around 6 years now. And I've had a great relationship with them. They've always been the dealer that's reached out first for training and offered to bring me in for specialized training, even out of country. So they're always great to deal with in terms of that, even warranty stuff or training, any kind of opportunities to grow my business. They're there to help, whether it be small things from store signage to brochures, any little way that they can help us grow, to help them and the car audio community. They've been amazing to deal with in every way.
Well, I'm sure that's music to your ears, Michael.
Yeah.
But my question is this: like, do they offer as a line? You've seen the training that we did today with MB Quart. You mentioned a lot of categories. Do you feel like Automob has enough of that width of an offering to be able to supply a store such as yourself that covers so many different categories?
It's always good as a business not to keep all your eggs in one basket. As
Fair
you know,
enough.
you got to have some other lines to get other products in case somebody doesn't have something. You got to have an account set up already. But to be honest, most of my business is with them because they've always had what I need. I haven't had to go anywhere else. So why branch off somewhere else if I don't need to, and the service is already great? So they definitely hit, I'd say 90% of the categories that I do here. And with them branching off into more stuff like this, that's going to help my industry in my area, being a northern part with off-road applications like the Jeep thing is really great. Giving us a product that we can go right into with the customer. There's no, what speaker should I put in this? It's a nice quick sale at the counter, at the point of sale, where you can say, I have something specific for you. And these guys have definitely hit the point on this for sure for me.
All right. So based on the presentation that you saw, did you have any questions, or what were you most intrigued about?
I believe the gentleman from Tint World asked availability, and I love that it's going to be soon for sure. It's the right time of year. The Jeep industry, as you say, in lighting and every other category, especially audio, these Jeep guys, if you know Jeep guys, they love their Jeep. They all love
They
it.
wave at each other.
You know?
Yeah, they do. That's not just in the commercial. They actually do. This is a real
Hey,
thing.
look, we say it's a cult, so
It's definitely once you get into Jeep life, that it doesn't let you go. You're in for life.
Yeah. And that's very real out in like the more rural areas of Canada. Like I'm out on the East Coast, dude. There's Jeeps on every corner. There are UTVs on every corner. That's just
it's like that in Chicago, Illinois too. It's
what?
Exactly. But we call them mall crawlers, but it's
mall crawlers. Okay, they're the ones with the tires that actually don't get mud on them.
But they those guys love everything off road, anything with a Jeep. Everyone's into it.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
My question for Mike before I let you go, Mike, as a retailer, this is important for me because this seems to be progression as time moves forward. How important are these application-specific type solutions for you as a shop?
They're very important because we're not just selling this product to our customers. It also goes through our installer and me too. So I'm at the point of sale, and I'm also a smaller business, so I'm either in the front or I'm installing it. And if it's much easier for me to install with a better outcome, then I'm more liable to sell it versus something else. I can tell the customer, your brand new Jeep, we're not adding holes in the chassis. This is a bolt-in kit. It's so from start to finish, from install to sale, it's definitely laid out. It's a lot easier to do on our end. Get that happy customer so they're able to return for more stuff on their next Jeep or their next upgrade.
Yeah, that totally reinforces exactly why these guys put so much work and development into these type of products. Mike, can't thank you enough for being on with us, man. Keep on keeping on down in Sudbury.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
Take
Mike
care.
Carrier from Mike's Car Audio. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
So there you have it, guys. A little bit of dealer feedback. I kind of like springing that on distributors and on manufacturers because, my job is kind of get the real score. And I think that feedback is invaluable. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. We love that direct feedback. That's the big thing about us,
Absolutely. Listen, we're already at the top of the hour. Rob, Brian, I'm going to leave the floor to you. Any last messaging that you want to get out there as far as MB Quart is concerned?
From my perspective, I just want to thank you guys and for doing what you do. It's kind of a cool thing which you guys have created here, and we like it. And obviously, we want to thank Automobility for supporting the brand and sticking with us. We know it's not always easy, especially in this industry right now, but we do appreciate sticking it out. And lots of good things to come.
Oh yeah.
So, I can't let you off that easily. You can't just say lots of good things to come on CMA. So we see you. Yeah, we're going to go there. So we're developing. I see where you're going. You're doing, you did obviously ATV. You've got a grasp on. UTV, you have a grasp on. You've got different stages. Razor. Now you mentioned Polaris Ranger as well as what were the other platforms?
Polaris General and Honda Talent.
General.
Yep.
And okay, perfect. So that's where you're
Honda
going
Talent.
as far as power sports is concerned. It would appear that your Marine is kind of on lock already. Okay. You got these Jeep things going on. What about the car audio enthusiasts? Is there, are you doing anything for the car audio side of things?
Obviously that's where we came from. So we do have later this year we have some new subwoofers, some new high-end subwoofers launching. We have a new reference series amp line launching. It's been I don't know, Rob, 2.5 year development cycle.
2.5 year development cycle. Yeah, these things are awesome. Yeah.
Super high value amp line, 4-inch Class D designs, all new 4-inch Class D designs. If anyone's familiar with their company, Lucas Lowe, before he passed away, was our primary amplifier engineer, and this was one of Lucas's last designs. It was kind of his passion project because he was really trying to push the envelope of what you could do at an affordable price point with 4-inch Class D amps. So we're really excited about these. They'll be available starting in probably August, September timeframe. And then, we're kind of going back to where it all started with some new products that'll come out in the season.
Yeah. Whoa, Brian.
Yes,
You
there
can't.
you go.
I'm going to stop you right there, Brian. You can't tease it that much.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to go any further.
I'm going to leave it at that. So
I'm gonna
and
leave
when I
that
say
there.
we're going back to where
Exciting
it all started,
stuff.
That's cool.
I
That's
mean,
really cool.
geographically and from a product perspective.
Great.
So it's gonna be really exciting.
Geographically is the big tip.
Geographically. Hashtag geographically.
Yes.
Let's just keep that.
Yeah. So if you can go to SEMA, you can see it in person and probably hear it in person.
Oh, don't worry.
It'll be pretty special.
CMA is going to get the Canadian audience covered on that. We'll be there. Don't worry. We will know when it happens. But my message is, it's all these so expanding categories, like Mike had mentioned. Like we didn't have to deal with so many categories before. Now there's so many categories. But make no mistake, car audio has a resurgence. So it's interesting that you guys have noticed that, and there's something coming in that. But that's all I wanted to say. That's great, guys.
Yeah,
really. Thank you so much for being on, Rob Anderson, Brian Sherman, MB Quart. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks.
guys.
Really appreciate it, Steve.
guys.
Mike, take care. Thank you.
Take care. All right, back to just us three. Michael, what did you learn from this? What message do you have for dealers after our session today?
Well, I think most of the dealers in Canada, well, if not all, have figured out that products like this are pretty important for them to keep growing their business. And as you alluded to a little bit, that if you're not following the trends, their customers are going to go to the shops that are following the trends. So I think it's very important for them to closely look at these categories and embrace them as their customers.
Absolutely. And half of that is education. Shops are so busy, especially in the last year and a half. They're so inundated with jobs that it's hard to stay on top of what's coming down the pipe. We do our best to try to stay on top of it and always consistently get the information out. But the job has to also come from the retailer to be able to stay on top of these trends, because if they don't know, they can't pass their information on to the customer. Steve, your last word on the products that you see, and as from a product management standpoint, this new MB Quart offering. And
to follow a bit what Mike was saying and you were saying before, I mean, our job is to make sure that we have the product available to all of our dealers, right? So our job is to stay on top of the game, keep those products coming for our dealers, and I'll end it on that. That's our goal right now. We're working with the dealers to get them the best offering possible, to get the job done, to get sales, to get customer satisfaction. So that's our job.
Yeah, and I think we heard from some dealers today, both in Tint World as well as Mike's Car Audio, that apparently you guys are doing a pretty decent job with sales and support and all that stuff.
We try.
So pat yourself on the back for that. I didn't say it, they did. Mike, thank you so much. Steve, time to get back to work,
Thanks,
buddy.
Ben.
Always a
Have
pleasure.
a great weekend, guys. Take care.
Yep. Later, man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
So there you have it, everybody. A nice session, really tight session there with the team over at Automobility, as well as our guest from MB Quart. Big shout out to Mr. Rob Leibovic from Tint World, as well as Mike Carrier over at Mike's Car Audio for coming on and sharing a little bit of their thoughts, a little bit of their testimonial on the whole deal. Man, great session, guys. I wish everybody a great weekend. We'll be back, of course, next week with 3 episodes of Connected, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon. And we also have CMA Live coming at you. It's next Wednesday evening, where we're talking about Essential Gear Part 2. That's it from me. You're watching CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.